Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Carolina Panthers Talk, brought to you by Blitzball Champ Gaming. I'm your host, Blitzball Champ Jason Ingram, coming at you here on the U to the 2. Shout out to my partner, Mr. Carolina of the Bleeding Carolina Blue podcast. So, wanted to talk for a little bit. So, it's official that we are out of the running for Deshaun Watson. It's now down to the Falcons or the Saints. The Browns are out as well, so it's down to the Falcons and the Saints. I've looked at some other videos and podcasts and just, trying to process this situation. And I also we'll talk right quick about our newest signing, Damian Wilson. But I've gotten a chance to listen to a lot of folks and really kind of process some things and just kind of come to a conclusion on some things. Just really thinking about it. But first off, Damian Wilson. So we ended up agreeing to terms with Damian Wilson, linebacker, played with the Jaguars last season. Actually played all 17 games, racked up 106 total tackles, 59 of them were solo tackles, 3 sacks, a forced fumble, and an interception. He actually got his first career interception as a last year. Damian Wilson, 28 years old, played at college at Minnesota, was a 4th round draft pick in the 2015 draft class. And he did play 2 years with the Chiefs. He actually was on the Chiefs roster when they won the Super Bowl when they defeated the San Francisco 49ers. Now, which I believe they ended up signing, I want to say a 2-year deal for Damian Wilson. I think it was a 2-year deal. But word is Jermaine Carter is testing free agency. So I could see this as being the replacement for Jermaine Carter. So supposedly we're looking at a lineup of Shaq Thompson, Frankie Louvu, Damian Wilson. And I know we also brought back Julian Stanford as well, who can, be a role player, and also he's on special teams. But that's what I'm thinking it's looking like. Potential starting linebacker core. Now, of course, that's something that we could also still look at in free agency or in the draft. But this is what we're looking at. But I have a feeling they may explore some more options at linebacker because it's still kind of thin. I mean, no disrespect to Shaq Thompson and Frankie Louvu, but it's still definitely nowhere near as strong as when we had Kuechly, Shaq, and TD. It just doesn't even compare. Not even close. So we'll see how they continue to address free agency. But it sounds like this was potentially a decent pickup that could start. It's a tackling machine. He got a forced fumble. He got his first interception. So, I mean, hey, we'll see how this goes. But, hey, welcome to the team. Damian Wilson. Okay. This whole Deshaun Watson fiasco situation. So, it's official. Carolina Panthers are out of the running for it. For Deshaun Watson. Look, I know there's a lot of the fan base that are pissed off about this, that are discouraged, upset. I get it. I understand. But listen, y'all. Y'all have to think about something. The organization was trying for at least a whole year, maybe even more, to get this guy. And still wasn't able to get this guy. Think about that. Why is that? Why is that? You know, I was listening to Panther Nation podcast. Shout out to Rashad and Dave. And made some really good points. And I agree with this main point. You got to think about what Deshaun would have wanted in the first place. If the Panthers organization really wanted him bad enough, these type of things, they would have catered to him way long before now. Because he's been wanting out of Houston for a good long while anyway. I mean, he wanted say so, and, you know, staff, with, you know, particularly head coach. You also got to remember, you know, they got rid of his weapons while he was at Houston. So, I feel like if Carolina wanted him bad enough, really wanted him bad enough, they would have catered to these things way early. And that is why I say David Tepper was bluffing when he mentioned about giving him the power to select the next head coach. Nah. He was bluffing. I truly believe he was bluffing. Because if that really was the case, he would have called him on it, and we would have gotten rid of Rule way before now. If he really was serious about that, Matt Rule would have been gone way before now. I mean, wouldn't you think if we were chasing after this guy for at least a year or more? I mean, wouldn't you think that the pieces would have been put in place way ahead of time to get this guy? So it really makes me question, how bad did the organization really want Deshaun Watson? Did they really show? Because I'm sorry, like the picks and, you know, what they were going to give up are one thing, but being that they were trying for so long, supposedly trying for over a year, you would think they would have been in the best position to do so, to do their homework, and to just go in and make this happen. But no, I honestly don't think they wanted Deshaun Watson bad enough. With that amount of time and such, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. So that's number one thing. Number two, got to start thinking about damage control now. Because, I mean, there's already been names mentioned about who would get traded and whatnot in order to accomplish this. You know, potentially Brian Burns, Jeremy Chin, you know, maybe Christian McCaffrey, Sam Darnold, whatnot. I mean, a lot of contract restructures. I mean, now they're going to have to think about damage control. They're going to need to do damage control now. Now, I understand that some cap was rescued from the restructuring of contracts, but you have to also think about how certain players are going to feel knowing that, hey, you were going to be up for a trade to get this one guy. This one guy. And that's another thing folks got to remember. We were going to do all this for one guy. Not one guy and a draft pick. Not one guy and another role player or whatnot. But all that for one guy. 3 first rounds, like 2 second rounds, and like, 2 or so players. That's a lot. That's a crazy amount. And if y'all don't think that's not a lot, then something is wrong. It's a win now move, but it's a desperation move. And it's a crazy move. I don't care if it's for a franchise quarterback. That, like I said, that I look at that as almost like trading away your whole basketball starting lineup just to get Michael Jordan. It's crazy. And I like Deshaun Watson. Is he a immediate impact? Absolutely. No doubt about that. The dude's played in an AFC championship game. Of course he's a great quarterback. But gutting a bunch of your resources for him and then not even being successful at it, especially with effort, makes the organization look even worse. At the same time, it could also be a blessing in disguise as well, because it could end up hurting the Saints or the Falcons in the long run when it comes to assets and cap and money and such. So this could also be a blessing in disguise. So also embrace that. Embrace that as well. But organization needs to get back on course, hit this free agency, and start filling more of these holes. The right side of the O-line looks pretty set. I think we got to go hard on this left side. Make a decision about, do you want Brady Christensen to be your starting left tackle, or do you want him to compete for it? Give him some competition. That left guard position. I wanted Norwell, but Norwell's going to the Commanders. But look at that left guard position. Look at that center position. Like, got to go hard and stack that line. Reach out to Stephon Gilmore and Dante Jackson, like one or the other, both, and try to get one or both of them back. Need to start looking at edge rushing. We lost Hassan Reddick. I mean, we still got Burns. We still got Marquise Haynes Sr. We still got YGM. But we need to stack this line. We need to stack this line on D, so that we can get pressure and be the nasty force in the pass rush we once were. Another thing I want to say, we have to also keep in mind, Matt Rule is going to try to do what he feels, even if he has less power, he's going to try to vouch and do whatever is necessary to save his job. And to be honest, having 2 back-to-back 5-win seasons, and this is something that, shout out once again to Rashad and Dave, but that could alter our chances of us going for a quarterback in the draft. And the reason why I say that is because you get a quarterback in the draft, you got to develop them. You got to develop them. And I don't feel like Matt Rule is in a position to be developing anyone, because he's coming off a 5-win, 2 back-to-back 5-win seasons. So something tells me that we're probably going to try to fish for a veteran quarterback, a Mariota, a Baker Mayfield. And also, let me go ahead and say this about the whole Baker Mayfield situation. The only thing that I will say is it's kind of iffy with him because he's coming off of shoulder injury. So, health is a question. I agree. But we need to stop comparing this dude to another Sam Darnold. There is no comparison like that between these two. Sam Darnold has never even tasted a winning season. Sam Darnold hasn't tasted playoffs. Baker Mayfield has. And not only has, he's won a playoff game. That is no comparison to Sam Darnold. I know a lot of people are saying, Kenny Pickett might be Sam Darnold 2.0. That remains to be seen. It's not impossible. But these Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold comparisons, that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. The dude has won a playoff game. Something that Sam Darnold hasn't even come close to sniffing. There is no comparison between Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield. There's no comparison. Come on now. Come on now. So I had to get that out of the way. Because, I'm not opposed to us getting Baker Mayfield. But like I said, at the end of the day, the organization has to make a decision. Because, like I said, Matt Rule, I strongly feel that his playoffs are bust next season. And got to start thinking about the best chance getting us to the playoffs. Or are we going to develop a quarterback? So that's something that the organization is going to need to come to a conclusion on. Because that's going to really affect what happens in the draft. And if you ask me, I think by default, trade back is going to happen. I'm sorry, but having a 6th pick in the first round and then not having another pick until the 4th round, that is too big of a gap. That is way too big of a gap. All the other teams will eat up the rest of that first round, 2nd and 3rds. Other teams will eat those up. So we have to really strongly consider trading back. And it's going to either come down to thinking about how far you want to trade back. Because that's also going to factor into whether we can, whether we're going to go hard on offensive line or if we're able to get a quarterback and then still be able to get another pick in the 2nd round or maybe 2 first-round picks or, in the 3rd round, something like that. But having a pick in the 1st and then a pick in the 4th, that's too big of a gap. That's not going to work. That's too big of a gap. So, that's my whole thing with that. So, they need to figure out, ASAP. Because the draft is the end of next month. It'll be here before you know it. But I just have that feeling that we're probably going to try to get a quarterback, a bridge quarterback, Band-Aid, whatever you want to call him. Because Matt Rule trying to save his job. He trying to save his job. And it's already, I can imagine it's already kind of scary because now his coaching staff is full of longtime veterans. With 1 to 2 of them that could potentially take his job should we fire him, mid-season or before. So, if anything, y'all have to think Matt Rule gonna try to save his job, and I don't know if that's gonna involve taking a quarterback in the draft and developing him. I don't know if he's gonna want to take that chance. So, something to think about. It's really something to think about. But I think it's a big blessing in disguise that we didn't get Deshaun Watson. I didn't think he was going to come here anyways. And I just feel like there was a big lack of effort in really trying to get him, especially if they were trying to get him for over a year. You would have think they would have done their homework and research and kept up in order to do what was necessary. Tepper talking about, we'll let you pick the next head coach. You knew that was something that he had wanted way long before now because he wanted Eric Bieniemy. I mean, you have to think, when Deshaun was on the Texans, not only did he want Bieniemy, but he lost his weapons. DeAndre Hopkins, he lost his weapons. So, like I said, I don't think it was really the organization's best effort, especially if they've been going after him for over a year. But but like I said, if you ask me, I just really want to zone in on offensive line and really filling our holes. And like I said, with the quarterback position, folks have also got to make up their mind. We can't say, we want Malik Willis and Kenny Pickett, but then you turn around and say this quarterback class ain't that good. Y'all got to make up your minds. I know some want Malik Willis, some want Kenny Pickett, but some of y'all at the same time will say that this quarterback class, draft class, ain't nothing special, ain't that good. Y'all got to make up your mind. So, that's why I feel like if that's the case, maybe consider, dealing with Sam Darnold another year. And not to mention, it's funny how supposedly the Panthers wanted Deshaun Watson for over a year, but yet don't have the guts to fire Matt Rule, don't have the guts to drop Sam Darnold. Oh, but they had no problem dropping Teddy Bridgewater. But no, they won't drop Sam Darnold. I don't get that. So it just really makes me question this organization. Just with the lack of planning, the lack of direction, it's making me nervous, y'all. It's making me nervous. I mean, I know it's still the off season, but just this organization's lack of planning and direction is really a big issue. It's a big issue. So we'll have to see what happens, but I just really think they need to focus on trying to fill their holes. And just prep to get draft picks. Because having a 1 and then having a 4, too big of a gap. Let me know what y'all's thoughts are on this. What do y'all think about the Damian Wilson signing? And how are you really feeling with this aftermath of Deshaun Watson? Carolina's not getting him. Looks like he's either going to go to the Falcons or to the Saints. And what are y'all's overall thoughts about everything that's developed with this whole Deshaun Watson situation? Are you pissed that we didn't get him? Are you happy that we didn't get him? Let me know what y'all's thoughts are. Like, comment, subscribe, and don't forget to hit that notification bell. Thank you so much for watching for another Carolina Panthers podcast. Another Carolina Panthers talk podcast. I'm your host, Blitzball Champ Jason Ingram. Hope everybody has a blessed weekend, and I will see y'all soon. Peace.